Well, it is my great pleasure to welcome Derek Rabelo, who should need no introduction at all. Derek surfed pipeline as a blind surfer some years ago, and that video went viral. And Derek's story began to be told, and people were absolutely gobsmacked that this guy could not only surf these legendary breaks that have actually caused death to some people, but he can do it as a blind surfer. Derek's story isn't just inspirational because of the fact that he's blind and that he surfs. He just has an amazing story of overcoming adversity and helping lots of people around the world achieve their goals. Derek Rabelo, welcome.
Wow, thank you so much, Ian. So nice to hear that from you. It's my pleasure to be here. Many years after we've been together doing some other things, and now it's an honor for me to be at your podcast.
Derek, let's just wind it back. You're a little boy. Were you born blind? Can you tell us a little bit about how you contracted blindness and what impact that had on your life as a young boy?
I was born blind. I'm from 25th of May 1992, and I was born blind with glaucoma. And since birth, I didn't have the pleasure to have the sight, but I had the other pleasure to develop my other senses as much as I could,
Yes.
which was my hearing, my feeling, my listening, and everything else that I could try. But on a young age, I was a very happy kid and very active and always looking for doing crazy things. I always loved the ocean. I always loved to be at the beach, but I didn't have the chance to meet surfing yet. So that's pretty much how was on the beginning. I went through 3 surgeries trying to recover the sight, but they were not successful. But it was God writing my history, like so I could inspire people one day. I
Yes.
think it was God writing this
Yes.
story.
You must be a bit of a thrill seeker. I know you love skateboarding as well as surfing. So even from a young age, were you a bit of a thrill seeker when you were a kid? Did you sort of climb trees or do things that scared your parents?
Oh yeah, they say all the time that there are many pictures of me, climbing the windows or climbing a tree, or doing all of those kind of things that parents go crazy.
It must be interesting now being a father and having your own little boy and doing it all again through your father's eyes. Yeah.
I always want to make sure that my boy does as crazy as I did or even worse, but his mama is not too happy about that. She's very protected. She always wanted to make sure he's gonna be fine, but I tell her, honey, calm down, everything is gonna be fine. I'm always looking at him. I'm always make sure he's gonna be safe.
Yes. Well, I wish you and your wife and your family all the very best going forward. I see those little clips of you on Instagram enjoying your family, and that's a big part of success. And it's not just about being on the stage and having lots of followers.
Well, the success is my family. They are my biggest success.
Yes.
And I don't need any other success than that, because the fact that you wake up in the morning and you look to the side and you see your wife right there on your bed, and you hear your son and you're like, wow, they are here. That's just like fabulous. It's the best feeling ever. It's a better feeling than riding, like a giant wave in Nazare, than surfing pipeline. It's just wonderful.
So your father obviously inspired you for surfing, or was that something that you wanted to do? How did that work?
Well, I always loved the idea of surfing. I always really liked that. On the first 10 years of my life, I didn't really want it. I started to want that so bad when I was around 15, 14. And then it took a few years and I started to surf when I was 17 years old.
Yes.
And my dad taught me, he took me to the ocean and he gave me a surfboard and he said, come on, do it.
Yeah. So people want to know, how do you surf blind? Because as a sighted person, I'm using my sight all the time when I'm surfing. I'm looking to see when the waves are coming. I'm looking to see where to position myself on the wave. I'm looking to see if there's anyone in the way. I'm looking to see if anyone else is on the wave I need to avoid. I'm looking to see if the wave is going to sort of close out and kill me, or whether
So
it's going
much
to
to look. I think it's better being blind. Sorry, it's so much to look and now, right?
well, it'd be nice just to ignore all the things that are there, but I don't know that I'd be able to get away with that at Manly.
Well, that's what I do. I just ignore anything else. I just focus on my wave. I just focus on what matters. No, I'm joking. Of course, we imagine for me. Imagine what I go through when I'm in the water the whole time. I don't have much peace out there because I'm like, is there someone in front? Or is there someone, duck diving? Am I going to be run over? How is that going to be? If someone hit me with the board?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm.
But I try to stay calm. I try to be peaceful and listen. I try to listen, I try to expand my ears and
Yes.
listen a lot what is around me, how people are paddling by, where the waves are breaking, so I can actually avoid being on their way and avoid surf another way that they are not at. You know what I'm saying? That is the environmental and
Yes.
in the water for me.
Yeah.
Because of course when I say I don't have peace, it's what I mean is I have to be alert, I have to be aware all the time when I'm out there.
So take us through the actual catching of a wave, Derek. You're sitting on your board or you're lying on your board, and just take us through from there to catching a wave. What happens? Take me through it.
Well, before sitting on my board, I have to make sure I'll jump in the water without knowing what's going out there. So that's a step of decision that I have to take. And once I paddle out there, I do so many duck divings. I'm out finally, and I'll try to pay attention if there are waves coming, or maybe someone that are out there with me will let me know, hey Derek, there is a right hand coming, you can paddle, and then I paddle. But that moment is full on because I have to really pay attention and try to feel how fast the wave is coming and when exactly I'll have to take off.
Yeah.
Because if I miss that time, the time of paddling and the time of taking off, it's very important. It's much harder for me to figure out when that time it's exactly time to do that than doing the bottom turn and riding the wave. So that's pretty much what happens. A lot of feeling and listening where the waves are breaking and how they're breaking, and so I can find out where I go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can tell me about it, but I still can't imagine it. And if you blindfolded me and set me out in 2-foot surf, there's no chance I could catch a wave. Maybe if I persevered, I could, but I don't think I'd want to persevere because I've got that option.
Well, let's try that next time I am in Australia. We'll make that happen. We can go to fresh water on the right side of it. Then when it's pretty small, nice and mellow, we'll have fun.
Okay, I'll give it a go once. Derek, tell us about getting to Pipeline, because you hadn't actually been surfing long before you went to one of the most feared breaks in the world. How does a blind surfer from Brazil end up in Pipeline?
The dream of surfing Pipeline became right after I started to surf, because I knew that I was named after Derek Hall. and I knew that pipeline was a really nice, uh, perfect, heavy, and barreling wave, the way I always loved. But I knew it was very challenging, very shallow, and very, how I would say, very
True.
dangerous.
Mm.
But I wanted to face that. I wanted to get prepared. I had the right people with me. I had my mate Magno Passos that knew that wave really well, so he took me to Hawaii with him, and I was not doing something out of preparation, not out of knowing. We did with so much safety. And after 1.5 year I was surfing, I went to Hawaii and I
Up.
surfed pipeline. And since then, I fell in love with that wave. I fell in love with Hawaii, and that's how my passion for giant wave started.
Okay, just stop there. You'd been surfing for 1.5 years and you went to Hawaii and you rode a wave at Pipeline. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
Mm.
I started to surf when I was 17,
Mm.
and I went to Hawaii when I was right after 18.
Yeah. Well, okay. Mm. So from Pipeline to Nazare, now this wave, I remember, 15 years ago, I don't think it had ever been surfed. And then some crazy guy caught a ridiculous size wave out there, and that vision went all around the world. And then those big wave riders decided that was the next Everest to be conquered, and they started going to this place which basically the water comes in from very deep and then breaks shallow, so you've got these swells forming and then just peaking up as triangles and then breaking right in front of a rocky headland with a lighthouse. I mean, it's spectacular. Uh, but Derek, how did you come to surf Nazare and how did you go?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story here. That's actually something really cool. I remember 10 years ago, 11 years ago, right when I started to surf, I was just getting at my house. I used to live on a building, and I was walking through the reception where there are, the security guard stays, and like the guy that opens the door for you. And there was um, a news going on the TV, and the guy that he knew me really well, and he calls me and he's like, "Hey Derek, come here and watch this. Listen, a guy just got 100-foot wave in Portugal."
Mm.
And I'm like, and I start to laugh. I'm like, I don't believe that. I didn't even, I just started to surf. I didn't even know that in Portugal there are waves. Can you imagine like a giant wave like that? And he goes, dude, I'm serious. And I didn't believe, and I see, I hear on the TV they talking about Garrett McNamara. I'm like, come on, like
Mm.
those journalists, they don't know what if they are talking about. That there are two options. That might be Hawaii, or that is fake news.
Yes.
So, and then I go to the security guard of my building and I say, hey man, you know what? I'll surf that wave one day if that wave exists. And a few years later comes by, and I get that Nazare with my friends, and I'm like, come on, 5 years ago I was like watching a news about that wave, and this actually exists, but I didn't surf. I was like, I don't know if I'll surf that wave. But then I got to know the wave. I went down, for the first time. I just surfed. The short break was maybe like 4 or 5 feet only. And a few years later, in 2017, I'm like, I want to ride the biggest wave of my life at Nazare. And was 3 years of really hard working, learning new skills, learning towing. For who doesn't know what it is when you have a jet ski with a rope attached to that, and you hold on the rope so you have enough speed, and then you can take off on the wave. So And that day that I rode that giant wave was one of the most amazing days in my life.
What was the sound of that wave like breaking behind you?
It reminds me riding a very steep snowboard mountain. I don't know if you ever have a snowboard, people that are listening. When you go on the black tracks, they're very steep, and that's the feeling when you're riding a wave of Nazare. And the sound, it's a lot of mix of sounds of, from the other planets, from the other galaxies, like from the other world together.
Okay.
And it's just something that's hard to explain.
Yeah.
The best way to really know that is to go out there and experience that.
Mm. Mm. And the closest I will ever be to doing that, Derek, will be watching you.
Well, I guess I had no choice. If I really wanted to know how that was, I had to surf because I cannot see.
Well, it's not a goal of mine. It was a goal of yours. So tell us, let's talk about goals. How do we realize our goals? How do we deal with adversity and overcome obstacles?
Well, guys, first of all, I think we should only do and chase our goals. We should never, as you said, Ian, was not your goal to surf Nazare, and you should not do it. It was not your goal to surf, let's say, freshwater. You should not do it. We should have our own goals and be ourselves. Because what happens, many people, they don't have their own goal.
Yeah.
They don't dream, and they complain that they don't achieve things in life, that they don't ever meet their success. And that's something really, really difficult, because the first step is to really know yourself, to really know what you want, and then set up the goals in your life and make that decision of having those goals. To make a decision is something pretty hard, right?
Yes.
Even myself, I find myself in a situation taking long to make decisions, but come on, make a decision. It's much better to regret later of something you did than regretting that you didn't make the decision and you didn't do it. So that's what happens with goals. That's why sometimes we don't have them. And once we have them, they will not fall on our lap on the couch, And that's the same with fear. People look at the fear and they think that the fear comes to destroy them. But in the end of the day, the fear is that just to show you who you are and how prepared you are.
So fear can be a positive thing in that it can prompt us to become more prepared. It can help us face issues in our life, but it doesn't need to defeat us.
That's what I try to tell people. Can you imagine? I'll leave it a question for the audience here. Imagine if fear would not exist in your life. Think about that, Ian. Do you think if fear would not exist in your life, would you be alive? It's the same with pain. When you get hurted, when you feel pain, it's something that we need with us, but we need to know how to use.
Yeah. Well, we experience fear in so many different ways. We might as well work out how to use it to our advantage, right? Definitely.
The question that I get most asked is, are you not afraid? I'm like, of course I'm afraid. I'm a human being, I gotta be afraid. But come on, if I'm afraid, it's because there is something wrong. If I'm afraid to get my skateboard and go down the hill, it's because there is something that's not going right in my life. Maybe I'm not well prepared. maybe I didn't do enough training. Maybe I don't have a really good skateboard that will brings me safety. Maybe I don't have the right person with me. If you are afraid to wake up and get on the train to go work in the city because there are too many people, or you're afraid to get the wrong train, it's because there is something wrong in your life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they don't need, the fear will not be there. The fear will always be there.
Yes.
But we gotta be our mind should be under control.
I think you've touched on two very important things there. Knowledge can give you the tools that you need to be better equipped, be better prepared. And the other thing you mentioned is reaching out for help. The place of community around us, people who support us to achieve our goals, is so important. What value has community been in your life to help you achieve your goals, Derek?
Well, community it's everything for me, because they come on the right time, and alone we don't go anywhere. We need help. We need people to help us to grow. I think you're a coach as well, Ian. I'm a life coach, and oftentimes in my life I look for a mentor that can help me, that can take me to the right path. We need to accept their arrival, like I did, with the Rothmans, like I did with, Brian Jennings. They came, they wanted to help me. I had to trust them. I had to, open my heart and tell them, guys, I need you. The same when I met my wife, the same with my parents, my close friends. I need you, because without you, I'll not go anywhere.
Yes.
God has put you on my way. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to really try to absorb good experience, good content from them.
Yes. Has being blind and needing others in your life, perhaps to guide you in certain ways physically, has that made you someone who finds it easier to ask for help, or has it made you more proud and independent?
I think both on the same way. I'm never afraid to ask for help at all. I'll always ask for help. My wife, she's really funny, Like, let's say we are at the airport, the biggest airport of the earth, and the airport, like, there are like 15,000 gates at the airport, Should rather go from gate by gate, looking the gate to find our flight. I'm like, honey, just hold a second. I just go to the first person that walks by. I need your help, please. Where is the gate number 2744? I need that gate. And if the person says, I don't know, I don't work here, I cannot help you. Okay, fine, I'm going to go to the next person. So, and I think that's something really important. We need to humble ourselves now and ask for help. My wife, it's someone very shy. So for her, it's really hard, and I do understand that. But there are people that they don't want to ask for help at all, just because of pride. And I feel sad for them, because we need help.
So can I just review with you how to be successful in achieving your goals? And you tell me if I've left anything out from what you've said. You've mentioned, make sure they're your goals. Don't try and live somebody else's dream. Find out what the passions are in your own heart and go for that. You mentioned the importance of being prepared, that things aren't just going to fall in your lap. You have to put in the work that's required to get ready to do what it is that you want to do. You've mentioned the importance of community and being open and vulnerable and reaching out and asking other people for help. You've talked about the importance of knowledge and equipping yourself, investing in yourself, so that you're in the best place possible to do, or to know what it is that you want to do and how you will go about doing those things. Is there any other critical steps in achieving your goals that we haven't covered today, Derek?
Well, I think it was amazing that you got all of them together. But the biggest and much more important than all of that, it's that you want to do it. You need to want. It needs to come from your inside. It needs to come from your heart. And make sure you always keep that flame on. Because when we desire deep, nothing can stop us.
Well, that's a great place to finish, mate. I look forward to staying in touch with you and hearing more about your journey. If you are listening or watching this and you want to keep up with Derek as well, then I suggest you go over to his Instagram, Derek Rabelo Official. This is a man that will inspire you in life, a man that is achieving his goals, who recognizes his weaknesses but reaches out for help, is going for it with a passion, who loves his family and is making a huge difference around the world. Derek, thanks so much again, and God bless you, buddy.
Ian, thank you so much, mate. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you, all of you that have taken your time on the side to see it and hear us. And God bless you all. Have a good one. Cheers.